So my reading on this is that if you actually kind of zoom back and look at the last 70,000 years from the perspective of spirituality, you'll see that for 70, for 68,000, say 67,000 of those 70,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
human beings' spirituality was grounded in the ecosystem around them. It was grounded in the wildlife and the
Because they
rivers and the
physically could
trees.
see it too, which is an
Well,
advantage.
that's what they had, right?
Right.
And then about 3,000 years ago, a period called the Axial Age. This is when people started getting really innovative, inventing all of these sky fairies. And it was really from that point that humans started to detach from this oneness with nature. And then years progress, and then and you've got, like, then the Industrial Revolution comes in. So prior to 1700, the year 1700, you could pretty much argue that human civilization was ecologically sustainable because it hadn't broken any of the fundamental
Right.
planetary boundaries. It hadn't stressed any of the planetary boundaries. I mean, its impact was visible. You could find traces of lead in the Antarctic from the Roman smelters and so forth, but not so much that it destroyed anything. And then, so when you bring an ecologically unsustainable spiritual worldview, Christianity and the
Right.
Abrahamic, all the mainstream
Right.
religions basically are ecologically unsustainable. And they all effectively stem from this axial age period about 3,000 years ago. You combine that with industrial civilization, and the next thing you know, you're heading towards an ecological collapse.
Right. We're going off the
And
cliff.
so the work, the work that I'm trying to do is just trying to sort of flesh that argument out, flesh it out in science and evidence rather than just making it up. And that's substantiable. You can see the evidence for that. And then just trying to help people understand that concept that we have been led astray from our natural and innate spiritual framing, which is to care and revere the ecosystem that supports us. But of course, we don't live like the Cro-Magnon in the cave next to the river. We live in cities and towns and motor cars, and so there's some extra steps that are required to help people reconnect themselves spiritually to the living planet. And on a broader sort of sense, it's about connecting people spiritually to reality. Because if you actually take the time to have a bit of a read about what's taught in the mainstream religions, you find it's all, it's just nutty. It's not grounded in anything real.
Absolutely.